Good evening, model railroaders, and welcome back to the Second Section podcast, where it's just regular folks talking about model railroading. I'm your host, Andy Dorish, and joining me this evening is a whole crew of people. But let's start with Mike Ostertag, the co-host. Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Hey,
how are you doing? Actually, how are you doing? Huh?
So I'm better than I was about 2 hours ago.
That's good. That's very good. It's it's funny every time, except if you're the guy having it happen to you.
Yeah, so there's a little backstory here. So my wife was out walking the dog around town, and my son is suffering from cabin fever. So we decided that, on this nice winter day that we would go out and play a little baseball out in the driveway, and he wanted to do a few pitches, and one dropped and deflected off my glove, and hit me right in the gong bell.
Yeah,
and
and there
your voice is doing all right.
Yep. Yeah.
Was it a strike? Was it a strike?
Yeah, it was a strike, and
so then it was your fault. Yeah. You should have caught it.
It was my fault. Yeah, and I took one right. Took the shot, buckled over. Henry come over and asked me if I was okay and all this, that, and the other. The first thing I do is I text Mike and I said, "Mike, the show's canceled tonight. I can't go on."
Yeah. Yeah, Henry hit me with a pitch right in the blank. I'm making dinner and I'm laughing. Joy's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Andy just got hit with the baseball." Where do you think? And you're laughing at it. I'm like, every time.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. So yeah, but it's good to be on the air tonight with you, and we got some friends here with us tonight.
Yes, we do. We have several.
We got the producers from Seinfeld and Married with Children here with us this evening.
Yes.
And then so the familiar faces from Prairie Shadows Model Railway Company, Jeff Arnold, Rob Gruber, and Brandon Narwicki. Did I get that right?
Naraki.
See. Yep, haven't had enough beer yet to offset that. But welcome back, guys. So we'll start with Brandon. How you been?
Great.
Yeah. Sounds great.
All right,
things have been good.
All right, next.
That's good. Next, how about you, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. Still in the winter. Spring's around the corner. Snow's starting to melt a little bit. Enough.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. And then, Rob, you're a newcomer to the show, aren't you?
Yeah, first timer.
Yeah,
look out,
first timer. So we'll have to do the initiation for Rob here that Brandon and Jeff had to do when they first came on a while. But it's been a while since you guys have been on the show.
Is that the Seinfeld set?
Yes, it is.
There's
you can't tell we like
Seinfeld references, Married with Children references, Dumb and Dumber references.
Yes.
Oh boy,
you guys! I think if we all would have went to college together, I think we would have hung out quite a bit. Because you guys' sense of humor is right up my alley. So, Rob, welcome to Second Section. Hope you enjoy everything that goes on tonight. And then joining us from the section crew this evening, Phil Dimmer. How you doing, Phil?
How's it going? Pretty good.
Good. We're doing good. What are you up to back there?
Just
modeling away
a little bit. I was probably gonna do some patching on some box cars and stuff, but seeing you guys are doing a brew with the crew, so I figured if it was okay, I'd pop on and maybe share some updates on the layout and answer some questions if anybody's got any. So
that sounds great. So that's a good little segue for us this evening. So what we're going to do is we got the folks from Prairie Shadows on this evening. off of their worldwide tour at Amherst, and they've talked about doing some really cool releases, and they're going to share some of that with us here tonight on the show. And then we're going to talk about some of the stuff that Phil has been doing behind the scenes. And what's the name of the railroad? The Eastern
Eastern. Yep, the Eastern Dakota and Welcome. I got a Facebook page of that name, and there's also I got an Instagram page too of that name.
There you go.
So
there you go. And then and then after that, after we get through the ED&W. We're going to look at the group build stuff that's been going on this evening, and we're going to give away some crap. It's going to be a really good show. But like it is on every brew with the crew, we'll have a little toast here at the beginning of the show. It's good to see everyone again this evening. Welcome all in the section crew, and to your very good health.
Cheers.
So if you're having a beer, having a cup of coffee, Pepsi, whatever, it's good to be with you, hanging out with you on a Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Dusted off a classic.
Oh boy.
What do you got there, Mike?
In honor of the upcoming modelers retreat in Minneapolis, Plymouth, Minnesota, I thought I'd run to the store and grab one of New Ulm, Minnesota's finest beverages, a Grain Belt Premium American Lager.
Oh boy.
This is actually good. If you want to go on cruise control, this is a pretty good thing. This is pretty much good. You're I'm actually not used to seeing through my beer. It says the friendly beer. So on the inside of the label, it says the friendly beer. Look at that. That's right.
I'll be darned. So I thought the only thing that came out of Minnesota was hams.
That and disappointment with the Vikings. I mean, other than those
things,
and a bad football team.
And a bad football team.
Fired.
We just about made it again.
Mm-hmm. So so welcome everybody, and again, just to kind of talk about it. Yep, you can have a beer, you can have whatever. If you don't want to have a drink, that's fine too. But we're just glad that you're hanging out with us this evening. So, so it's been a while since our friends over at Prairie Shadows have been on the show, and what I'd like to do is just go around the horn with Jeff, Rob, and Brandon, and just quickly. Just reintroduce you guys to the second section audience here, and if you just want to give a brief introduction about yourself, and then we'll do the old awkward pass the microphone around, and then also just give us an idea of what your modeling interests are. So we'll start with Jeff. So Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Jeff. I have a problem. I model both and on the show now.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
I'm moreover for over 40 years now. I never really left with it. I found that whenever I got bored with one thing or another, I just switched to a different facet of the hobby. But since the three of us started doing some of the HO stuff a few years ago, I found myself kind of going back to the dark side, doing a bit more HO than I had in the past.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, I know it's a slippery slope. I have really little focus. If it looks cool, I'll probably model it regardless of scale. Obviously, I tend to go to a lot of CN and CP, but I love BN. Been finding myself enjoying a little bit too much Milwaukee Road and UP lately.
You can never have enough Milwaukee Road, bud. Look at this.
I'm even Rio Grande. There we go.
Look at this. Come on. You can never have enough Milwaukee Road. Ever.
It's bad.
Rio Grande's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like.
So you just kind of model it all then.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I really have zero focus.
That's perfect.
I'm the modeling equivalent to a cat and a laser pointer.
Oh, and then so what's your affiliation with Prairie Shadows then, Jeff?
I own it, I guess. I started just about 10 years ago. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. For lack of better words, I suppose. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, so what is the flavor of the month this month for modeling interest?
I was working on some all American and up some decals this morning on a 70s 80s baggage car that was a CN. It's like a tree planting car. It looks pretty cool. And then I got irritated with that and went to the 2000s and I was working on the next fuel Gevo. So,
Really?
Man.
I tell you, I got no focus. It changes. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, we're glad to have you back with us here on second section, and look forward to talking about what you guys are doing over at Prairie Shadows. So let's pass the microphone over to Brandon Naraki. After he just took a big healthy tug off of the tall boy there. How you doing, Brandon?
Good. Yeah, I got Muskoka for the people in Ontario. Muskoka Brewery. It's a tall. That's a tall 8%. You can't really see it though, but it's yeah.
Wow, you're going hard right out of the gate.
Up.
Holy man.
That's all I got.
So that's it. We're not modeling. We're just talking about the tall 8%.
Yeah.
So
modeling wise.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a CN modeler. Just CN. There's some interest in the Grand Trunk as well, obviously. Being that I am closer to Detroit, that's why there's a GTW influence there. And the era is like mid 2000s. So
fairly recent.
Yeah, well, I try. I think like mid 2000s is like my attempt at staying relevant. I feel like 90s, and I really like the 1990s, but it's just some of the stuff is harder to get unless we're involved with a model train manufacturer. Then it's a little bit easier, but
if only you knew somebody, Brandon.
If only, yes.
Yeah.
You'll take matters in your own hands every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. And it's HO scale. I did dabble in N scale for a bit there, but it's a tough. There's mad respect for both scales, but being that I've got so much HO scale stuff, it's basically that's where we're at. And actually, the layout room is getting the floor installed this week.
Oh.
So hopefully the next time we're on the show, I might be able to dash downstairs and actually share some progress in that regard.
So what's the size of the room that you're putting together?
The layout room, it's you walk in, there's my shop, which has it's basically a large bench with some 3D printers and just a bench to basically do something. And then you walk in, it's a swing door. Unfortunately, I had to go with a swing door for 4 levels. And that opens up and you're inside the layout.
Wow.
So that layout room is 35 by 12. So it's long and narrow, which is what I wanted. A helix within a helix. So I think Rob calls it a vortex.
Correct.
That's yeah.
Oh
Vortex.
Man. Yeah.
So we've heard, so our friends over at the crossing gate call them a nolix, right? The non-helix helix.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
We have the helix within a helix, which is now termed a vortex.
I think so.
It's going to patent that, by the way.
This is new.
So
Yeah, it's new territory for me. So I honestly, I'm very apprehensive about starting how to build this thing because my skills are CAD design and design in that regard. When it comes to actually doing some woodworking that involves accuracy, it could be laughable. Could be. So we'll see.
Oh man, you're gonna have to take the actual transition from, well, it fit on the computer and it fits on the plan, but how come it doesn't fit in real life? And then have to make
I'll
those
be
adjustments.
heartbroken.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is going to be quite the layout. Is it intended for like operations or just kind of rail fanning or?
A bit of both.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So it's 4 levels. It's the bottom level is staging, and then it's 3 scene levels. And I would say the middle level and the upper level are mostly switching.
Oh dang.
So, yeah. The lower level is basically like a giant yard. So
yeah. Very cool. Well, you'll have to keep us informed of the progress here once the floor gets in, and I can't imagine what this vortex is going to look like, but yeah, very excited to see it come to life. That's for sure.
I have it designed. I don't have my CAD open, but I could
go ahead.
I'll show you guys. It's
okay.
It looks a little squirrely. So.
I envision almost no straight sections.
Well, it has to be if it's 35 feet long.
No, it doesn't. You just keep going around and around and around and around as you keep on going and make it like a elongated spring.
I didn't go that road, but
I'm just saying you could. I mean, and then you get to the one end and then you come back down and interconnect everything back together all the way back down. You make one big giant vortices, so to speak.
That'll be something.
Yikes.
I'm gonna stick
the engineering behind it works.
Yeah. I think it will work, but who knows?
Yeah, the slinky route. That's a perfect. Yeah. So you take a slinky, and you know how you get like you pull a slinky apart and never wants to go back together because it all gets cobbled. Yeah, like that.
That one here, my son just did that to one not too long ago. So
yes.
Yeah. Here's don't let Mike lead you astray.
I'm telling you, it works.
Planting ideas in my head.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm also the guy that at one point in my model railroading career, I built a 4 foot by 8 foot layout with a helix with 3 decks.
Oh.
The helix was inside the 4 foot by 8 foot. That was part of it. Yeah, it was like 18 and 20 inch radius all the way up.
Oh boy.
Yeah. In this very room, right here, it went this way, right here, like this. I wish I never would have tore it down.
Been there, man.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's awesome.
We've all been there. So welcome back, Brandon, and thanks for the little introduction of yourself and modeling interests. And again, absolutely enjoying the Married with Children backdrop.
Glad.
Yeah.
Seems like a few other people are liking that one too. So
yeah.
Yep.
So last but certainly not least here from the Prairie Shadows crew, we got Rob Gruber. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thanks,
yeah, of course. We're going to ask you the same awkward question. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your modeling interests are, and then just kind of how you got tangled up with the Prairie Shadows crew.
So I also, like Jeff, have a problem with the train.
Okay. Hi, Rob.
Hi. Hi. Let's see. So I'm a project manager for Prairie Shadows, research development. I work with Brandon with CAD. I work with our artists, jack of all trades. So that's what I do with Prairie Shadows. I modeled Canadian National Illinois Central in 2003 from Champaign to Centralia. The layout is up. It's 30 by 40 triple deck with a vortex. It is CTC dispatcher operations hardcore.
Wow.
Boom.
Okay, we'll be down next week.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm gonna press you a little bit on this. What made you choose to model that specific run of the CNIC?
So it kind of, I don't want to, it's a long story. I don't want to drag it out. So in Cincinnati, there's a group of guys. There's probably about 10 or 12 of us all around the same age, and everybody had a railroad. So one guy modeled CSX, one guy modeled NS, UP, blah, blah, blah. And we would take guy trips. We would take 4-day guy trips out rail fanning in the early 2000s. And we went to Tono, Illinois. And here comes a grain train that had Alstom lease units and drapers and Grand Trunk units with ICG grain hoppers. And I'm like, oh my God, nobody that I knew modeled that. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And so we would take a lot of trips to Effingham, which is where the CSX, the X-Con rail crossed the IC, which has a station platform. You can sit there all day, all night. And we would just chase trains up and down that line. We would go, I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I think I've been to Effingham at least 30 times on trips. So when you model it, you got to go, got to see it. So, yeah.
Right. That's awesome. So a lot of people like to go and, do like destination rail fan trips. Illinois is like one of the, I don't even know how to say this. It's like, if you want to see trains, granted it's cornfields, straight across, but you will see trains on trains on trains in Illinois. It's everywhere you look. Or anywhere you see tracks, you're going to see trains.
Yeah.
The thing is they've got pretty incredible short lines that people do not know about in Illinois. I mean, it is a lot of fun. I did that short line on a show on was it the Bloomer route? Remember? So that one it's kind of hit and miss. You gotta kind of get there on the right days, I suppose.
You gotta know.
Right? Yeah. You have to be you gotta know when they're running. But even inside the area of Chicago, I mean, Chicago's got 4 or 5 different little short lines that are really, really kind of neat and stuff. Yeah, but I've got 7 of those destination trips already planned for this next year. So
there you go.
For this year.
You got 7 trips planned?
Yeah. In my head, whether they do them or not.
Where's my invite?
Yeah.
When I come around and I sit there and go, "Hey, I'm going here. You want to come with?" There's your invite.
And I go, "Okay."
And you'll be like, "Okay." But hey, I'm going up to Marquette. I'm going up to Marquette, and my buddy CJ
when are you doing that?
I don't know. Let's see. It's March. They are on hiatus right now. They're literally, the LS&I is literally shut down.
Really?
They shut down for 2 months out of the year.
It all froze up.
So it'll probably be, I don't know, one of those weeks where Joy's working and I'm on vacation. So June, July, or August. Okay. So I can run up there, do a day trip, come back. Be a lot of fun.
Okay.
I might
stow away.
Yeah, no, you're not stowing away. I'm gonna take you with, no matter what. But then I'm also going to Glencoe, Minnesota. Going out to Missouri, Iowa. I'm planning on taking a trip down to Iowa here to do a little IAIS action again, and I don't know. Handful of Minneapolis trips. That was fun.
That was a fun day. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
That's another story for another podcast. We don't want to.
Yes, it is.
Bogart our time here with Prairie Shadows.
No, because these guys. Yeah. Sorry, never mind. Just ignore me.
There you go. Yeah, we will. I'll turn her back to Rob. So then, how long have you been working? You said you're project manager with Prairie Shadows. How long you been twisted up with these guys again?
5 years, 2020.
Yeah, it's about 5 years now.
5 years.
5 years.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Doesn't seem
Can't
like
believe
it.
it's been that
well,
long.
I know. Does not.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about the company Prairie Shadows a little bit. See the seamless transition there I
Good
pulled
work.
to get us back on. That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes.
But so let's talk about where did the company get its beginnings?
Started retailing. I got
Okay.
bothered by a certain retailer that will remain unnamed, but my two compatriots know who they are very well. Kept getting
Sure.
stuff I didn't order. I didn't want to get banned if I didn't pay for it, so I got crusty about that. The local guy kept screwing up my orders, so I thought I'd try selling trains because I thought it would be easy. I had no gray hair before then, and I know one thing led to another, and I started doing special runs with Intermountain. After that, probably done between Intermountain, Atlas, Fox Valley, Rapido, Trainworks. Between HO&M, we've probably done close to 100 special runs now. Well over 75, I think now. And
Really?
that led to starting to do some N-scale manufacturing with Rapido about 15 years ago. And as they grew, they were pretty busy with their own stuff. So I started working with somebody else, which eventually led the three of us working together for about the last 5 years. Probably been the best 5 years I've had in the business so far. That I think the three of us really enjoy working together. Hopefully, the other will get some subtle ones anyway. That's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. And no.
So
yeah, here we are. Yeah.
and yeah, so Split Rock, Brandon, your answer to Split Rock is
No.
no, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, ways to go.
We're still pretty
We're seasoned, guys.
Yeah. To do this kind of work.
Yeah.
So you've been in the business for a while. Brandon, Rob, have you guys been in the model railroad industry as for a long period of time as well?
Yeah, I mean, Rob and I, we kind of started off doing some work for Pacific Western Rail Systems, so PWRS.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then it branched into, we started doing some work for Jeff, which would have been Jeff's N-scale 3800, and then eventually the HO Trenton 5250. But Rob and I were also doing stuff for Rapido, Atlas, Athern. So we've kind of done a few projects for some of the other companies as well. But now it's mostly it's Jeff, and it's sometimes Pacific Western Rail, but it's mostly Jeff. I'm trying to.
No. We don't want you to. Yeah, if we understand that you guys are kind of like freelancers, right? So if there's stuff that we can't really talk about or anything like that, that's fine. We're not going to press. We're not going to press that at all.
No, it's not. It's not so much a we don't want to talk about it because
you
Jeff's
wouldn't.
here. Like it's the connotations surrounding some of the other manufacturers that can be maybe construed as you guys do work for them too.
Sure. There's always politics, of some nature in it. It's like, well, but yeah, if the work's good, right? I guess it kind of rises above all that type of stuff.
We
wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, we all have jobs to stay miserable at. We need some enjoyment. That's where this is supposed to come from.
Exactly. Yeah.
So have you and Rob then been kind of like a tag team for how many years now?
Ooh. I don't 2018?
6-7 years old. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It started off. I was trying to make stuff to do through 3D printing.
Yeah.
And I was showing him, like, what do you think about this? And he's like, nah, man, come on. We're trying to hold ourselves to a higher standard here. And it's like, yeah, you're right. So some of the early designs that I had done, those are in the recycle bin and like long gone. a little on the embarrassing side. But it actually started with doing like semi trucks and semi trailers. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows H.J. Heinz. So the town I grew up in had the ketchup plant. And I wanted some of those semi trucks and trailers, and it kind of evolved from that. Like, how am I going to make this stuff? Because no one offered, an FRP, which is a fiberglass reinforced plywood trailer. So it led to 3D printing that, and I was like, well, we can maybe make some rail cars. What kind of rail cars pique our interest? Rob and I model almost the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
I see how this works. So you learn how to do the designing, and then you just make stuff for your own railroad, and then just sell it to everyone else when you have extra.
Prairie Shadows.
There you go.
You got it.
This is model railroad industry business model 101, right? So it's make the stuff for yourself first, then and then when you have extra, sell it to everybody else.
That way, if nobody likes what you're making, you're golden anyway.
Yeah, like I offer myself anyways.
Yeah, there you go. So, I'm gonna make a really awkward point here, back to kind of what Jeff was talking about with a certain hobby shop and all that good stuff. So I have a Canadian Hobby Shop T-shirt on. I'm just gonna zip up my shirt just so.
Oh, is that an Intercity shirt?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just in case we don't want to ruffle any feathers. So
I think we're good. Yeah.
Isn't that pretty
okay?
much
Cool.
Isn't that pretty much how Rick Rideout? Isn't that how like that company started? Is he was making stuff for his layout with like all the buildings and stuff and the grain bins and stuff. That's how that company started, if I remember right. You know Rick Rideout's layout, right? Where he's got the L and N.
Oh yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Rick's, Rick's products.
From
Rick's
products,
yeah.
That's more or less how that started. Is he wanted stuff for his layout, and then it just kind of grew from there. And that's a great story of how he branched out into a big company or whatever.
I mean, that's Jeff, right? Like Jeff,
it's
you started.
Yep.
You started with the N scale PSC caboose.
Yeah.
Right. And that is a Prairie Shadows product, in case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of all the time that I was just kind of getting into end scale, and I thought, ooh, big product voids. And here we are.
Yeah. And the gondola and the bulkhead followed after that, and N scale, and then the 3800 and that. So I mean, that's all stuff that you ended up wanting for yourself. So yeah.
So then why don't we talk a little bit about so you guys did you all go to Amherst?
No, just me. Well, me and my my buddy Craig. Yeah. Craig has been he's been really helpful at coming to almost every show with me. He's a great dude. He's one of my best friends, and he thankfully pinch hit. Really hoping that Brandon and Rob could come, but they both got young families and probably have a really low bandwidth for my shenanigans anyway, that they need a bit of a breather.
Oh man, you might have a low bandwidth for my shenanigans.
Yeah.
You guys don't seem like
bunch of
rookies. You guys don't seem like the type to even have shenanigans.
I
mean, yeah, if you're doing 8% tall boys, I guess that's just kind of the nature of the beast after a little while. Shenanigans ensue.
Craig was at Train Fest with me, and Rob and his buddy Guck were there, and we kind of talking about the day that we can all kind of do a show together, because we talk regularly on the phone, like 2-3 times a week at least. We don't really get to spend a lot of time hanging out together, so all these shows have become as much about just visiting everybody and seeing people as it is really doing much for the business. But kind of love of the hobby that kind of drives us to keep doing all this stuff anyway. It's not really lucrative.
Yeah. So what? You're just in it for the girls, right?
Well, I know it.
Yeah.
We put on these sweatshirts and they flock from everywhere.
Oh man, you gotta get a stick.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get the memo to wear mine.
Yeah. Didn't get that memo.
T-shirts. No.
So the question that I have then to kind of come back. So was this your first time at Amherst, Jeff?
No, Rob, Craig, and I were there last year. I hadn't been for a few years prior to that. I think maybe 16, 18 somewhere was the last time I was there. So it had been a bit, and certainly like preceding any of the HO projects, which really we're kind of off in a corner of Mallory before just some N scale stuff, so you could pretty much watch the tumbleweed all weekend, and it's pretty dull times.
How was it this year then?
It's aside from being really, 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 really cold, I don't think the heat was working Mallory that well. Like I'm pretty well insulated, and I wore this sweatshirt, and I was still pretty cold.
Oh man!
But otherwise, the show itself, I thought it was really good. It was a good weekend. I think the interactions at both it and Train Fest every time we go to a show seem to be more and more. But like it's nice to put faces to the names of people that we deal with, but also get some pretty positive feedback from pretty much everybody. Like it's just really good conversations. I kind of speak for Brandon and Rob, but I just feel like it kind of makes me feel like we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, and so I'll give you some personal feedback. So I have the cars from the Home Shops line that you guys work together on, and I have the Trenton covered hopper and then the high cubes, and these are some of the best railroad cars in HO scale I've ever seen, and they all roll so well, and I am so impressed with these products that you guys have put out. And again, I know they're the fantasy lines and all that, but the construction, how they roll, the details, they're incredible. And when I got them and I opened up the box, I'm just like, oh my goodness, these are top of the line. So you guys got a winner here for sure. But yeah. So you were at Train Fest then too this year.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, how did that go for you?
I loved it. I had a great weekend.
Did you?
That was Ecoland for us.
Oh man.
I really enjoyed Train Fest this year. We've done it as a show for the first time in 2022.
Okay.
Craig and I again. And I'd been to Train Fest probably 10 times now, but just never really thought that we had enough to really show people to do it commercially. It was just more to visit people. And, again, at the time was a lot of retailing, which kind of put faces to the names. And I just put a really high value on knowing who I work with.
Sure.
And, but the old venue was good too, but I don't know, being with my friends all weekend and visiting people, it's not really a bad time. I was pretty happy.
I know.
What did you think? What did you think of the venue compared to where it's been in the past?
That was the nicest train show venue I've ever been to.
I tell you what, I've been to Train Fest, I'll bet you every year for good God, going back a long, long time. And I bet you, oh boy, at least 20 years. And I was very skeptical about the way the venue, because I'd never been in that building before. And you would never have known that you were on, what was it on, like the third floor? Yeah. Second, the third, you never would have known you're on the third floor of a building downtown Milwaukee. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, like I've never gone through a metal detector like it was a TSA situation at a train show before.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that was kind of weird, but I mean, well, whatever. The times we live in, I guess, But
I really liked the venue itself, and if the food wasn't good, like we walked down the street for dinner one day, and I don't know, it's just it was
Oh,
nice.
there's so many good restaurants down there.
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I mean,
really
you're
enjoyed
in the Fiserv district too, and on Old World and Third, and they got like authentic German restaurants where they got the giant beers and the wooden tables and all that. Yeah, I love Milwaukee. That's for sure. Well, it's good that you had a good time down at Train Fest.
I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. So let's talk about what are you guys up to? You came out with some really cool stuff at Amherst. I was following it through social media. But did you guys want to talk about it here on the show tonight?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's do it. So why don't we talk about some of the products, and I'll see if any of you guys got pictures that you want to share. Otherwise, I can try and go and find them on the internet and pull them down. Might be easier for you. What are you guys thinking?
Do you want me to pull up the site here?
Yeah, why don't you? Since you guys are the experts, and I'll just sit back and Mike and I'll ask the questions. Maybe Phil can bring one in too.
Go there for the better pictures.
What's that? Sorry.
Want to go to the new one and just use the pictures off there?
Well, okay, maybe Rob or you yourself, because I don't have the link for the new one.
I'm technologically inept. It might be Roberto.
There's a new website, I guess. Is that where we're?
Yeah, that'd be a good segue, I guess. That I poorly.
Roll it into there.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to have it launched for the weekend and kind of formally announce it here, but a little worried about the coming week and what might happen with our shipping arrangements with some of the governmental changes. So we got to kind of stay in limbo for a few days just in case we have to make adjustments to how and where we ship. But otherwise, a new website, new structure. The current website served us really, really well. Just trying to kind of change it up a little bit, just go to a different platform because it's PayPal based before and it's getting hammered. Conversion fees on currency and everything else. Just
it's a real deal. So well, you can certainly bring that up if you want.
Yeah, like in terms of product, like Rob and I have uploaded a whole bunch of pictures of some of the new stuff. It might be the easiest way to go through the product.
There you go,
Jeff.
Pardon me?
I don't have it on my laptop.
You don't have?
I don't have a login.
All right.
But we can, in the absence of that, we kind of go through the status of each of the projects anyway, because we're starting to progress pretty well. The rock that we announced
last Amherst.
Yeah, was it Amherst? I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a thorn in our side in terms of like progression. Retooling and Brandon and Rob both wanting to become alcoholics, trying to get through the development of it, getting everything to work. That we started tooling almost 15, 16 months ago, and it's at the same stage as the PD that we started tooling about 8-9 months ago now with it. So they're kind of bogged down a little bit, but they're both moving along really well.
Okay. So if I'm out on your website, this the 89, the tri-levels?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see if I can pull this little guy up. All right, here we go. Oh, yes. So you guys have a few versions of this.
Yep. So the first version, so the CNs are on their own. Those are Portec. Everyone knows Portec's a card builder. Portec racks re-rack to NSC flat cars. Done at Hawker Siddeley out in Nova Scotia. So that one's a bit of a weird one, but we were able to use enough parts from the other ones to do this one. And there are so many flavors of CN, just with all the repaints and the different mods that came out of them, that we were able to do all of them.
Oh wow! How many different roads are you offering with this one?
So on the CN one, that's just all by itself. There's black painted CN, and then there's yellow repainted CN. And this one's showing the Rave 1 doors, which are like the ski slope doors that point in. They're like, some people call them finger doors, or
those are the weirdest looking thing ever. They're like the weirdest. Even looking at them in real life, they're
so cool.
They're weird looking. They are cool. They stand out. That's for sure.
Yeah. A lot of people think that they weren't a really common. That was a very common door type. So RAVE stands for Rack Anti-Vandal Enclosure. That was their attempt at basically having people break in there and trying to drive them out of the racks. And then eventually, so as my understanding is, the RAVE ones, they were constantly getting kinks, so they chopped the angle part off and went straight up with them, and they modified the roof. Yeah, there's some pictures there of those are the most recent samples, actually. So we had some retooling.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, there's still some things that we didn't even like on it, though. Like I think we hold ourselves to a high value, and they're there, but they're not there. You know what I mean?
That's part of the reason why these are 16 months. With the factory, and they're still not here yet. Is where we want to make sure these things are to people's standards. They have to hit our standards minimum. So
yeah, right.
So that's the first group of auto racks that we're releasing. But this project is like a mile long. There are all different types of tri-level auto racks that we did, and it's mostly with that same type of Pullman standard flat car that's on the UP, FEC, GTW, and Conrail cars. So that flat car, there's 3 different kinds of flat cars, and those 3 kinds of flat cars take us quite a ways away from just the Portec bodies. These ones are aside from the rack, the Rave doors, they're like, it's like a full cowled auto rack. Like there's no coffered panels next to the ladders there. Those are completely flush to the screens. So it stands out quite a bit when you see these things. And the CNs are still on the rails. All the other ones, I believe, there might be a few UPs left, but all the other ones are gone. They've had to retire them.
Oh.
Yeah. They were.
CN runs everything right until it actually falls apart.
It's like, it's funny.
It's literally
recently we were measuring up some of the bi-level auto racks, and I'm not kidding, there were holes right through the floors in some of these, and these guys, this place does like full repairs. Apparently what they do in the wintertime is they just take bags of salt and just drop them inside there and spread it around. They don't clean it up after. So it actually corrodes right through the floor, and these guys are welding giant plates of steel patch over top. Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
Yes. Yeah. A special kind of powdery paint that they put over top of it to keep it from corroding even more. It's wild what they had to do to keep the life going in them. So yeah, that's that project has been a challenging one too. Not to mention, like, from an artwork perspective, trying to find cars that line up so we don't have to give the factory, you can make this particular road number with this layout and this road number with another layout. Like every kind of pad printing layout adds to the cost of the car. So Rob and I had quite a hard time finding numbers that were all like.
And I think I'm pretty sure the Grand Trunks, the Conrails, I think anything that's not trailer train, all the artwork on those cars is completely different from each other. Every single one. You
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, why make it easy? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do
Right?
it.
No. I'm saying,
You know?
No,
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
no,
the
no, no,
prototype.
no.
The prototype never takes you guys into consideration. I mean, why
Oh,
would
no.
they? Why, I mean, crying out loud. I mean,
And that's funny to say. It's the same information that's on the cars. It's not. I mean, some information does change, but for the most part, all the stenciling is the same. It's just they would put it in 20 different places on the same Grand Trunk series racks, and it made no sense. It was very annoying. It was very annoying.
So I don't know if you covered this or not, but what exactly do you know what the retirement era is, or what the retirement year is for the, like you said, like the Grand Trunk cars, the Conrail cars, those like that? Because I mean, obviously, if they're not around anymore, 2025. I mean, are you looking 2010s? Were they still running in the 2010s? Early 2020s?
2018 is when all the GTWs bit the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's still like he was saying before. There's Rave 1s and then there's Rave 2s. Rave 2s are still out there.
They've been rebuilt.
Haha, we tooled those too, but those haven't been announced yet. But
I think you just did.
But the Rave 1s were gone mostly in around 2018.
The GTWs, they never received. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say that. Most of them didn't receive the Rave 2 modification. Those Rave 1 doors are just awful.
Yeah.
I did attempt to open one at the location we were measuring my levels. I couldn't do it. The radial doors on the other racks, no problem.
Yeah.
Easy to roll. The Rave doors, I honestly, I'm like, they were seized shut.
That's why they're all bent.
Wow.
If you look at them, the older they got, the more bendy they got. You know, it's
how do you get
they
them
look
open?
like they almost look like they were open and they were actually closed. They were just bent out because whatever. But,
people just reefing on them to get them open?
Oh my god!
I'm pretty sure they used some sort of equipment to. Nowadays they have what they call rack grooming crews that go in and they basically prep the racks to be loaded, and so it's usually railroad personnel that has to go in there and open the doors up, or it's a separate contract that goes in there and opens the doors up and gets everything prepped for the guys to load them, because those guys have the equipment to open those doors. If the doors are stuck or something like that, or the ramps are stuck, they can take care of that.
So, like, did these have, just for those that are not that familiar with how the marshaling of auto racks goes, typically they line up the bi-levels and then they pass through, right? They drive through from one car to the next to get to the car that they're supposed to be, right? I mean, they just do that.
Yeah.
Straight through all the way to the end.
And sometimes they go right over. As we've heard from
we've seen
Chuck, right?
We've heard stories.
I didn't see the end. Drove right off.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's basically awesome. They're loaded like that. They're first car up and they just keep following after each other.
No, your cars don't have opening doors, do they?
The doors come off, but they don't function like, say, like an Intermountain. The Intermountain did their bi-levels with functional doors. They don't do that. So you can load them if you want to, but the doors come right off. So
yeah, that'd be cool. That's kind of cool.
We wagered. It was like, well, do we really want to make the doors functional? Then we have to oversize some of the parts and whatnot. Yeah,
it was brought up.
I suppose the hinges especially would have to be oversized, right?
Yeah.
In order for them to not snap off the minute you tried to move them. Yeah,
exactly.
It didn't look right.
Yeah, right, Jeff? I mean, and the engineers, no.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Brandon and Rob's sanity has left the chat.
Yeah. Yep, that was so that's the auto racks. Now Jeff mentioned we started the tooling on the PDs a few months later, and they're at the same stage. So the PD 5000 hoppers there in between the GP20 and the auto racks there. Those are at the same stage. Have we issued a purchase order to the factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, for those?
Kinda
We
said
did.
tentative
Okay.
quantities, yeah.
Yeah. So then those are in production then, I would say.
Yeah.
So you have quite a few different variants of this one from the looks of it, or at least different schemes.
So there's two different series or two different manufacturers, actual manufacturers there. So you have NACC and you have Thrall. And again, it's the same thing as the Autorax. The NACCs, the printing, everything is everywhere on those cars. It's hard to find cars that are the same for pad printing purposes. But yeah, there's two different series of cars there that we're doing first.
Oh, Suline, there you go.
Suline Duo. There were two cars.
Yeah, there's only two cars. Two.
Really?
Period. Two. Yeah.
This is pretty
Does it show
cool.
the other side of the Wonder Bread? Oh, it does. Okay, yeah. So that's a cool car because it's Wonder Bread on one side, Hostess Cake on the other.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
actually really, really cool. I like that.
I think they're still out there, but patched.
Talk about the pad printing. Nothing can stay the same, right?
Oh man.
Here, I'll just
We
shift
keep getting
over
these fun
to-
projects for artwork. Let me tell you.
So I'm
That's a
gonna
cool
bring this
car. I
down.
like that. I like that car.
Yeah.
What happened to?
Yeah, I got a better picture of it.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are the recent samples that we received prior to them going into. There were things there that they had to fix there, but that's typical. You get these samples and you're looking at, well, okay, they got to fix this and this and this. So we write them a report and basically tell them, okay, you got to fix this before production. These factories that we work with, they're very good. They understand. They know what we're after in terms of quality.
Oh, these are just
That-
insane.
That pad printing looks amazing. That looks really, really sharp. I like that.
Yeah,
And you know what? Hey, shout out to our designers, by the way. If we can do that real quick.
yeah.
This is not
I
us.
mean, there's no. So I mean, like, I don't know if we want to drop any names, but
No,
the artists are just they're fantastic.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. So how many revisions between you guys and the factory do you guys? I mean, what's the average? Like a couple, 2-3 times, and then we finally get the design kind of translated into the model, or is some cars a little more difficult than others? What's your experience?
I think
Rob?
having Brandon and Rob do so much of the work here takes a lot of the back and forth for the actual design. Like I would wager that really takes a lot of the, they still have to go over everything, but they can speak for the number of revisions because I'll probably screw up my stats, but I really think having the two of them as opposed to, it's hard enough for the people building them to try to understand what they're looking at. Never mind take drawings and translate it to CAD. And I think that having Brandon and Rob work their magic really simplifies the process for them. And it really takes a lot of the worries of accuracy out of the equation because while they may change some things, you don't have to maybe look quite as hard at it as you would otherwise.
Have you guys ever had it where you gotten one of the samples back or proofs? I like to use the word proof, but I mean one of the sample cars back from the factory, and you looked at it and you said, "Man, did we ever screw that part up? We need to really redesign this entire thing because that just did not look the way we wanted it to. As a production model, does not look the way we wanted it to, and it's our fault because we did do something the way we should have." Has that ever happened?
Did you hear about the Autorax? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we've had a couple oh crap moments. Like, oh man.
Yep.
I mean,
to answer your question,
that'll happen though, right? I mean, those things that's the part that the modeler typically doesn't understand or doesn't get to see. They may understand it, but they don't typically see that, where the pains of the 50,000 emails going back and forth to try to clarify one part to get it to where you want it, and it's all they see is, or a lot of times, or if you guys have been to enough train shows, how many times have you heard, well, I can't believe they're not doing this way? Oh, how many times? Oh, I can't believe they're not doing this. Oh, I can't believe they're. Well, yeah. Well, that's all well and good if you want to flip the bill for that version and go through all the headaches of it. Be my guest. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to accommodate getting something done. I mean, that's the one thing is the factories in China, and you guys are, spread all over North America, and it's like, it's not like you can just go down to the factory floor anytime you want and say, hey, we need to make this change, right? It takes a lot, right?
Yeah. Our PowerPoint's a hell of a tool.
Yeah. PowerPoint is our friend. Yeah, that's basically.
We show them exactly. We point exactly what we want and say, "Hey, you fix this. This is what we think. Like, what do you think?" And we just go back and forth with them.
Yeah, picture of the model, picture of the prototype, design.
Right,
this is what we need.
So you've essentially streamlined that communication process between, you guys, the design team, and then the actual builders, and pictures and PowerPoints. It's what we do in my line of work too, is, we point to this and this is the problem and circle it in red, and it's same in the automotive industry too. So it seems to work pretty good.
Now, the amount of revisions that happen before we even get to the factory, depends on the project. But I mean, the PDs had quite a few revisions, and that was a project that a friend of mine, we went and measured these cars. We were invited to measure these cars.
Wow!
At a cement plant in Ontario, just outside of London, Ontario. It was something that we measured ourselves, and it was still, the artwork showed that it still needed to be adjusted. The measurements said one thing, right? And it's not like we changed the car. Like, it's, when you design it, you have to take into account certain thicknesses of how thin you can go when you mold plastic, how thin you can etch this roof block or something like that. And so it still needed tweaking even after that. And when you're dealing with like profiles, like these cars are a cylindrical, they're a cylindrical body. That's challenging unless you're scanning the car, which we didn't scan this car. We measured it all.
Yeah, because I was speaking of that. I was just talking with a buddy of mine, and him. Well, I was working with him today or this last week, and him and I were talking about another manufacturer, and another model railroad friend of ours actually tore the end off of one of the cars because the tolerances were so thin that it didn't have enough strength to be able to hold up to weight behind it, and the whole end of the car came off. Bolster, the whole 9 yards. And I'm not going to say what car company, what car it was, or anything. All I know is it happened. So so sometimes you have to take, this is going to be 2 inches thick. Well, we better make it 4, just because you need that strength, right? You need because what do you think the average weight of a model railroad HO scale car is? 5 ounces? Right around 5 ounces? 6 ounces?
I would say, 5.25 ounces would be. Some manufacturers up it a little bit, but like we're pretty much right in line with NMRA. Those auto racks weigh a lot. What were they? Like 239 grams?
Because we measured them in grams, and I don't remember what it was, but they were.
It was like
239 grams. My drone is 249, for crying out loud. Holy cow, that's a lot. That's heavy.
So we didn't do them with a die cast flat car because we were worried about zinc rot and warpage. Like the first samples showed up and they were out of a zinc body. So the factory had to go back and fix that because we wanted to have a plastic flat car with a metal weight, and they put I can't remember, it's like 240 or something like that. Yeah, they roll really well though.
But that's really good though,
Pretty
right?
well.
I mean, you want the car like that to be heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think.
That's I was surprised when we had them. We're like, whoa. They pulled all the stops there. But I'd say 5 grams is probably the average there. And when you're dealing with anything that's like got forces on it, so your bolster, your truck, your draft gear, you don't want to go really thin there. I mean, you can go thin for the detail on the outside, but you want to keep that at minimum probably 0.8 mils. Any thinner than that, you're running the risk of it breaking under tension.
Yeah, you get a few cars behind, and what it'd be, Andy, 3 or 4 cars, you're looking at least a minimum of 1 pound of weight on that knuckle or on that drawbar. So I mean, you start adding that up. Now you put 10 cars behind it. Now you've got 3-4 pounds of strength on that one spot. I mean, science it translates from real world to the model. It's still the same thing. The
forces are still the forces, right?
Forces are still the forces, just, no matter what you're doing. It's just scaled down.
Right. And that's the thing that you got to consider.
Turbo 18. Look at here. He just showed up. He goes 25 cars at 5 grams is almost 8 pounds.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a hell of a lot for your lead. Just imagine if you had your lead coupler pocket wasn't strong enough or built properly enough, it just ripped that right out of there. I mean, like you said, you gotta make that concession. Yeah,
and then there's people like me who put the stick-on wheel weights in these things to even add a little more weight to them as well.
Oh.
So
yeah.
My cars weigh a pound a piece, probably.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
good.
They're over the top. So what else did you guys? What else did you guys bring out?
A new version of the boxcar coming pretty soon.
Okay.
And some more, like, say, am I wrong to say the newest version of?
The latest Trinity, so Trinity's latest 6275 cubic foot boxcar. So the LRS and the GTW CNs are probably the newest prototype examples, and we've got those. They're in production actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Are those the 2023 build cars?
Yep.
Yeah.
So those are the brand spanking new, shiny, almost never got graffiti. Yeah. So the LRS, are those will be the blue cars with the GATX up in the upper right hand corner? Is that correct? Yep. Look at that. Not like I don't see these every day.
I was gonna say, you don't switch those, do you?
No, never. I've never touched a single one of those. I tell you what, the LRS cars are really, really cool. The new GTW CN cars are really, really sharp too. It seems to me like it's a different shade of brown than what they've used on other cars. It almost seems like more of I hesitate to say like a milk chocolate color, but it's like,
go to the picture.
Yeah,
I want to show what he's talking about.
Yeah, go to
this color.
The picture of it.
No, yeah, right there. There, it's a different shade of boxcar brown.
Right.
It's in real life, lighter. It's a lot lighter. In real life, it really stands out compared to when it's up against one of the older high cube cars. It really stands out. I don't know if it's a different paint manufacturer that they used or what, but they're really sharp. I like them.
Yeah, so that car, if you actually put that car up next to one of our older ones, it's two completely different shades. I made that shade lighter because when I actually measured one of those cars, it was actually one of the CNs that I measured. I tried to get a Pantone color off of it, so we made it lighter because of that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, those are.
And you got the
they're
Pantone
really
of the blue as well, right?
Yeah, I got the Pantone for the LRS blue as well. It was a good day.
Yes, it was.
These are awesome.
The factory
This
did a good job on those.
These will play right into Ray Arnott's wheelhouse here, right? High cubes.
Yeah, high cubes. He likes the 50-foot.
He
high
loves
cubes.
these things. He loves those 50-foot high cubes.
Yeah. Yeah. What other
Very
railroads?
cool.
What other railroads have had those so far? I mean, is it just the two that you know of, or is it, or are there several other? The new UP ones, those are 60-foot cars, I believe, right?
Yeah, you talking the yellow ones?
Yeah, the ones with the all yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious
Yeah,
yellow.
I don't think anybody else. Brandon, you can. I think there's one. Is it NKCR? Somebody else has a new modern one.
CP's got an NKCR, but I don't know if it's.
Correct.
We just had 3 of those in Green Bay Yard. So they're starting to come through a lot. But because I was even asking what NKCR even meant. I'd never seen that reporting mark before. So, but they're sharp. That's a more rich brown. That's a different shade again.
Yeah.
That is a Trinity, but it has different ends than the one.
Yeah, it's got the mid phase ends with different sides. Those would be like a mid 2010s build.
Okay.
And the brake rigging on the bottom is more to the later version, which would be the LRS. So it's a mixture of what we currently have.
Yeah.
Things to come, I guess. we tooled. I mean, like the Trinity boxcar, we tooled every version under the sun.
I wish I could. I just gotta service the customer first, man. That's all there is to it.
Jeez. Company
we're
man here.
Yeah.
You're dedicated.
Dedicated.
Company man.
Dedicated to making it 5 more years. That's it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So did we? Maybe I missed it. Did we talk about the Van Halen car?
Oh no,
we haven't talked about that, and we haven't talked about the GP20 either.
All right, we should talk about that GP20.
So that was the announcement for Train Fest. That's Prairie Shadows. That's our first HO scale locomotive.
That's Jeff's baby.
Yeah,
that's fully endorsed by CPKC as well.
Yeah, they were very helpful getting us access to the measurements. And
so
is one of the ones that is happy with we aren't with some of the other projects progressing. I think that the confidence level is pretty high with a freight car, and this one will probably just take our time to make sure it gets done right. The nice thing is the builder's very experienced with locomotives. Arguably more so that they at least prefer to do locomotives over freight cars. And
yes,
for other manufacturers. So at least they've got the knowledge to kind of fill the gaps where we're struggling. And as long as we provide them the right information to make sure they execute cosmetically and the specs that we want, that like outside of that we're in pretty good shape. And it's just how long it's going to take. It'd be nice to see them by the end of the year, but I think realistically, probably a year or so from now.
So early 2026.
I think so.
Is when we're going to see these.
But yeah.
So is the prototype based off of a GP9 frame, or is it based off of a 38-2 frame, or is it its own standalone thing? Wow.
Yeah, I believe they did when CP retired, a good portion of their GP9s, they did send parts down to Progress to use to build these, and then the rest of them they built from scratch, I suppose. But yeah, these are a one of a kind.
Yeah, it's the only railroad that's got them. That's for sure. I mean, it's they're kind of they're cool to hear out on the main line when they've got a pretty unique sound to them too. They're really neat.
They're 8-cylinder 710s.
Yeah, yeah.
So
you ever think you'd never say those words?
I know, right?
Yeah.
An 8-cylinder 710.
Yeah. So imagine, just imagine an SD60.
I was going to say an SD50 or 60, right?
Yeah, SD60 prime mover, and
Just
cut it in
chop it
half.
off. Yep.
Cut it in half, and that's what's inside one of these.
Kind of the same. Kind of the same thing they did on the GP15-1s with the 645. They just kind of chopped that motor in half too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an 8-cylinder 645 in those.
I'll be right back, guys. I need to go get my computer charger. This battery is draining faster than I thought.
Yeah. We'll keep the fires burning here, Jeff.
So, you got a question? What kind of drive, like on this locomotive? If it's a brand new locomotive, is it your guys' own drive, or is the manufacturer kind of just have their drive already kind of figured out for this, or?
If you have to compare it to something, it's going to be closer to a like a Bowser. We're in the same factory.
Oh, okay.
As
Sure.
And so it's going to be closer to that. It's going to be closer to Rapido. It's going to be it's not a copy of it, but it's going to be something like that. Then
So did you have to design that drive, or do they have kind of like some parts?
What we did, we designed the outer shell. So everything you see in those renders there, that's our design.
Okay.
Taken right from measurements. It's the amount of work that went into making sure everything was there was a lot.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about the auto racks aging us. I would say that one single-handedly.
Really?
It was rough.
It's the standard that we're holding ourselves to. But so we designed everything on the outside, and then we hand it over to the factory, and they plop in their drive.
Okay.
They put in they design the truck towers, the gear system, the worm gear system, the weight. It's going to be ESU, right? And they're putting in the speakers, they're putting in the board, they're doing all that, and they're sending the designs back to us, and we're looking at them like, okay, good. They didn't change anything on the outside. That's fine.
Yep.
So, it's basically it's going to be closer to those two manufacturers.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm just really curious to hear one of these and I've never heard one in real life, and I just the whole 710, because I've never seen the 20s by us, Mike.
Oh my goodness! All right,
fine. We don't do a lot of CP work.
We're going to do it. We're going to do a lot of CP work this summer. We'll go. I'll get you right next
road
to one of
trips now
those.
instead of 8.
Yeah. Now it's
Anytime
8.
we
Now
do
it's 8.
portage,
8, 9, and 10 have just been put into the books. They go through. They go up and down the Watertown sub all the time. They come up on the Watertown.
Yep.
They're on the job that comes out of Milwaukee or out of Portage. They go from Portage down to Watertown and turn, and they're on that job all the time.
Everywhere.
Yeah, they replaced replaced a pair of GP38-2s that were running on that when they got them. They brought down and they put them in at Portage. I've caught them several times.
So I should be able to fall out of my truck and find one of these, and I just am that unlucky when I go rail fanning for CP.
Yes. Yeah, you need to go with me. We'll take care of it. I'll get you one of those. Day one, we'll go and
The
get one.
first time I ever saw them, they were in
See?
Bensenville in 2014 or 2015. They were brand spanking new, working Bensenville,
That's right the
Yeah.
year when they hit the rails too.
and I
so.
hated them
Yep.
because
Yeah,
they took away
things-
all the Sioux power, all the Sioux Jeeps that were running up in
Yeah.
Bensenville.
Yep. That's when you would see those trains going through Columbus, Wisconsin, heading to the west. They'd have a set of big GEs and then like 2 or 3 Sioux 38-2s behind it, and they were just shuttling 38-2s back north like it was going out of style. You know, they couldn't get them off the rails fast enough when these started coming on around. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Oh man.
They're all through. So they're all through Canada. They're all through the U.S. too.
Yeah, they've got a really nice footprint. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We've got some of them down here in Winemere on the CP KC. So I see them once in a while on the way to work. They're really interesting. Those, and then isn't there a GP30 C Eco or something too?
That's the 40-2 version of
is
it,
it a 42?
right?
Okay, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
we see the 20s too. They're kind of. I actually modeled part of the CP, so eventually I'll probably have to get the checkbook out, I suppose.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. We
That's what we
wanted
like
these
to do here.
Yep.
The
Spend people's money.
SD30 Eco. So
Oh man, so
Or ST30 Eco,
that's
yep.
crazy.
Yep.
I must be the only person on planet Earth that hasn't seen one of these trackside. I'm just getting peppered in the chat here, like, oh, they're here. Like,
I'm gonna go over
that's
to
it for me.
I'll go over to Hoffman Yard or over by the CP in St. Paul there when I go over to the modelers retreat, and I'll see if I can't hunt one down for you, and because I know there's at least 4 or 5 over there. At least there were a few months ago, you know. But.
Oh, and then they had it. Adam saying that they had it on the Christmas train.
Yeah.
2024.
That was a GP.
What
Yeah,
a
that was a
coincidence.
GP22.
Did they really?
Yeah, that was a GP20. Yeah.
We didn't know that.
yeah.
Oh wait.
As if we were going to possibly do those units. Who knew?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hintity hint.
You guys are.
Intense.
Yeah, I picked up on what you guys are putting down now.
That's a
Jeez.
coincidence.
Yeah. It's
So we're expecting those out sometime around, or hopefully around this time next year, huh?
Yeah, we should get the first sample, I think, in a month or so.
Yeah.
And I think in the next 6 months we'll get a pretty good feel on like a more definitive ETA when we see how like the samples come, what kind of revisions are needed, progress with the drive, and Rob beating the tar of it on his layout to see how it runs, things like that.
Yeah. Sent it to Andre too. So
Yeah.
We're gonna run the crap out of that thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
the factory was very aggressive with this. They were like, we can have it delivered to you in September. It was like,
yeah, no, it's
okay.
Yeah.
It seemed very optimistic. I mean, that's if everything aligns, and
Yeah.
I fully think that I think that the capabilities of this factory are there. I think there's gonna be some
they probably just want to make us happy, and do a good job.
Right.
They can do for us. It's kind of out of our realm, but we're not really in a hurry if it means the compromising what we want to see from it.
Yeah.
By that measure, we got all the time in the world.
It's true. So those are in tooling. First samples coming up. Probably like Jeff said, month and a half, something like that.
And then we got the Van Halen hopefully coming right behind it.
Yes.
Talk about the Van Halen.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I've been just on TikTok and Instagram, just been the best of both worlds has just been playing through my head all day when I made those posts. And yeah, here it is. So why you guys call this the Van Halen car?
well, they had an album 5150, and I'm just not the most creative dude out there, so I just. And then I think begrudgingly they were just like, "Okay, guy, sure, we'll call it the Van Halen."
Yeah, and then it kind of just stuck. So we just
Whatever
called it
you
Van
want, yeah, moron, and then here we are.
So I'm a Van Halen fan. So when
As
you
should be.
guys call it this, yeah, it just it made me kind of, I guess, flashback to when I saw him live in Chicago, you know, and just having a good time at that concert, and yeah, and then all of a sudden, poof, you know, all the nostalgia of the songs came back, and now I'm staring down, having to hopefully have enough on my credit card to buy a handful of these. These look
Yes.
sweet.
I really wish that the 5150 album had better songs.
Yeah.
Because there
They
aren't
only
many
had like
songs
2
that
good
I'm like,
songs.
yeah, I'm like, they've got
Yeah.
so many good songs, and it's like none of them are really on that album. But
Yeah, it was not that was not their best one, but one of the coolest album covers I've ever seen.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Are we getting some red, white, and black T-shirts in the near future? I think just
Yeah.
So tell us about how you guys came to land on this one. What was the big aha moment with this? I mean, these things are everywhere, aren't they?
yeah,
Yeah, so, go ahead.
go ahead, Rob. No, man.
Mm-mm.
This is our conversation.
All right, fine. I'll take it. I'll do it.
No, this is exactly what we expected.
Yeah.
Aside
Go ahead,
from,
guys.
aside from wanting a car that complemented the Trend 5250, it really appealed to us with different paint schemes and how frequently you'd see these cars.
I mean, CN, IC, KCS, CNW, DME. I mean, those are, you know, the full
That's
scope
just
Midwest.
That doesn't even count all the private lessors of these. There's there's First Union Rail, there's City Group, there are so many.
So we wanted
these
to make
cars-
a call out just so people know that this isn't that announcement wasn't just one car. It's a Thrall series of cars. So there are 5,400s that are on that poster as well that we threw out there. Some people got it, and some people were like, "Hey, you're doing the wrong car. Those aren't 5150s." We're like, "No. We know. It's just we're kind of making the subtle mention that, hey, there's more than just that car that we're doing in this series.
Way more.
Way more."
So this one's gonna set you guys up pretty nice. It's like the golden goose then with this line of cars.
Correct.
it's kind of like that Trinity box car that's like an untapped resource. And when I worked with Rapido on some of the N scale stuff, I've kind of been bugging them to do an HO project, and I always wanted to do the Trenton, which was between that and it fitting the two Focused guys modeling eras. That's how it came to be first. But we're really trying to have like a balanced but diverse model portfolio, and just really thought this kind of complemented it really well.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So many options to get into the other thrall hoppers as well that it's going to be a pretty good project.
So
Can you explain just real quick, just for everybody out there, like when a manufacturer goes and makes a decision whether to do like etched walkways versus in molded on walkways, is there, how much more engineering or thought has to go through that as compared to having it come on as part of the shell itself, because obviously that's a separate part, right?
Well,
I didn't know you could still get plastic walkways. It's like a swear word.
yeah.
just saying.
Well, you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
you still have car manufacturers out there who there's not a lot, but there
Accurail.
are out there. Accurail has them. Accurail still does them.
Yep. I'm staring at one of them right now.
Yeah, and they're nice cars. I mean, in my scale, they're all basically, like that. So does it add an extra cost to the car to actually do the etched metal or the etched walkways, or is it like comparable? Because these are exquisite. These look beautiful. I don't know if you could get that level of detail out of a plastic piece.
So if you want to take this car and just put plastic molded running boards on there, you could. So the roof is a separate part, the way this car is designed. So it's molded. The body is actually molded upside down, right? So the roof comes off. The bays and the side sills, that's all molded together. If you wanted to mold the running boards to that, you could. You wouldn't be able to put that. You can see in that picture there that Andy's got right now, there's a weld line right below the
that stanchion right there. Yep.
That would not be able to be there. It would be more flat, and it would look a little goofy because of how the mold has to pull out underneath the running board to give it that void. So you'd have a slide. They call them slides in the mold, mechanical slides usually, sometimes hydraulic, but they're going to be pulled as the mold opens up. They're pulled with a pin. They walk backwards, and that's what would create that void in there if you were molding that running board to the roof. And you would not be able to have the void that you. So the running board supports would be all one piece. It would be like basically a straight piece of plastic going back. Because
so it
right
basically
now,
it would take away from the integrity of design of the car then.
Oh yeah.
It would just kind of fold up on itself.
Yeah, it would.
You wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't look proper.
So this is the first time I've paid attention to the section crew all night in the chat. I apologize to you guys for hanging out there, but Isaac Fabris has got a question
Of course,
regarding these.
Hello, Isaac.
Isaac, let's see. CN got him as delivered in what was that, Brandon? 96?
94.
94, and then IC got him later. What were they, X? Or did IC?
So yeah, IC went to I think they went to FURX.
Yeah, FURX.
The IC didn't last long.
FURX. I don't remember.
CN went to FURX in 2001 or 2.
Yeah, and then the IC's around in 98. I want to say.
Yes, it was 97, 98 or something like that.
I'd have to go back and look at the roster, but Isaac, hit me up. I can get you. Can we answer a couple questions off here? I see people that are asking questions. So Jeff Schultz, I've been writing all of them down. Jeff Schultz, yes, Canadian Pacific Red will be very easy to hit, no problem. Yes, it'll have a keep alive as an ESU capacitor. I don't know what the soundtrack's the compatibility. I don't know. I've never actually tried that. I'm not a sound guy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I've never actually tried to mess with that. That Adam gentleman who mentioned the holiday units. We didn't mean to sound like. Can I say jackasses? We didn't mean to sound like jackasses.
Yes, you can.
No, we're just saying. One of the reasons why we even looked at the eco was the holiday units. Everybody and their brother loves that train, so we have to do those 2 units.
It's a family tradition for us, for my wife and I, to take the kids to go see the CPKC train. So
yeah, I think I hit them all. I was writing them down like, oh man, all these.
Thanks,
people
Rob. I've just been trying to keep things going back here and hold my beer at the same time, and it's difficult to do this. So I appreciate you taking the lead on the questions there for sure. But yeah, this is something that I always say I'm going to go and see that Christmas train, and I pass on it every year my son's always in like a bad attitude, and by the time it comes to like Watertown or wherever, it's too late. So
this past year they had a really good band playing. It was more of a rock band this year. Sometimes they have country. Actually, in previous years they had country bands, which is nothing wrong with that. It's great artists all the time. But this year was really good. So
yeah. So that's pretty much. Mike, have you seen the Christmas train? Do they have bands with it?
Yeah. I've gone down and done that a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I stayed.
gotta
Okay,
get out
so
from the rock that I live under.
I went to Sturtevant one year. I went up on top of the walkway, shot it coming down.
Yeah.
So I was out of there were people in lawn chairs on top of the walkway going over the tracks and stuff like that. And I swore I would never get in that crowd again because it is let's see here.
Bedlam,
We want to keep the show going, right? Let's see. How can I say this?
Were you gonna get canceled for what you're about to say?
I'm trying not to. CP does an amazing job with promoting this and doing what they do with it. The artists are amazing. The train itself, it never disappoints. It's always beautiful. It's very well lit. I don't know that I've ever seen it where a bulb has been out ever in the whole time in all the years I've ever seen it. It's just that it is not my kind of crowd that I would prefer to be around at that time. So I did it the one time. I stay out in the country where I know it's going to be going, and I usually shoot it away from other people.
I do the same thing, but I find I have to keep going farther and farther from the city because every year the crowd gets bigger and bigger, and I'll be waiting as patiently as I possibly can at a crossing or somewhere nearby, and some yahoo pulls up to the other side of the crossing with their high beams on for 20 minutes. Like,
yeah, it is very geared towards families, and there are a lot of them, and there's a lot of human nature that happens at the same time. So it is. You like the way I said that, Brandon?
Yeah.
Is that as politically correct as I can say it? I mean,
yes.
I think I hope CPKC continues this for decades to come. It's a great thing. I believe a lot of the proceeds go towards charity and things like that. And the concerts are really, really neat. If you happen to be someplace where they're stopping and going to have a show, I think the shows are 20 minutes long, and they change. Like, right, a station stop. They have a station stop, and a concert's like 20 minutes, a half hour, something like that.
It's something like half hour, 45 minutes. I can't remember.
Half hour, 45 minutes. Yeah.
It's
typically it's
Christmas songs and whatever they're.
It's typically not bands you've ever mainstream bands, but they're good. They are really, really good. Once in a while you get a big name on there, but it's really sharp. It's a cool thing to do. So show us on the doll where you crowd. Why, Chris? Why? Well, that's a dispatcher talking right there. So I mean, that's that he knows. But it's one of those situations where if you get a chance to go out and see that, it's definitely worth the money to go see it.
Yes.
Right?
Well done. Yes.
You like that? You like that, Jeff?
Yeah, that's very well maneuvered. If you get any more PC, we'll have to start calling you they. I don't know.
No, it's great. It's awesome. So
I just think it's I love seeing the train, what they've done to it, but just the way it engages people that otherwise would be totally indifferent towards trains, other than cursing them when they're stuck going somewhere. You know,
Yep.
I
it's
suppose.
just, they could kind of bring the community together, raise some money for charity. You know, it's built
Yeah.
some goodwill. I don't know. It's pretty positive in my eyes. But
The atmosphere after the train leaves, after the show's done, people walking out of there it's like everyone is just so happy after.
Yeah,
It's
the kids. And it's a great way to get kids engaged and get down there and get them to see trains and stuff like that. I mean, it's memories that families make. It's gotten to be a very big tradition for a lot of families, and I really hope that they can keep going with it. You know, it is kind of interesting though. Once the thing's over, to see one of the box, you can always tell when one of those box cars comes through because it is littered full of all the mounts for those lights. And you can see it all over the place because they're general service boxcars. They just grab a handful of boxcars and just throw some lights on it, and boom, off you go. You know.
Yep. Yeah, those high cubes. They're definitely tell which ones are in Christmas service.
No, Andy, I'm going to throw something up here since I'm going to circle back to the GP20. I took this photo.
I go potty.
Oh, geez. This is for you.
Oh, it's for me?
Oh, jeez Louise. Yeah.
Well, then I wait. I'll wait.
Well, maybe. Where the hell did it go now?
I'm an adult. Can hold it for more than 5 seconds.
Well, are you sure? I can't.
No, I'm not.
It's not going to work.
So while Mike is fiddle farting around with the technology, I do want to just say, hey, if you guys in Section Crew tonight have questions for the Prairie Shadows team, make sure you get them into the chat. I saw one just pop up there a minute ago. Let's see. Flying back up. It says, question, what led to the company diving into producing a locomotive, and will there be more locomotives down the road? Question mark.
I annoyed Brandon Rob into submission.
That's the answer.
Perfect.
It's like
that's why we love you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Will you just friggin' shut up?
So we all have I insists cars or where you have to pull an I insist. That was Jeff's I insist.
It counts for 2.
Sure.
Yeah. Here's a quick photo. I took this photo in 2014. And that was down towards somewhere around Watertown, somewhere down there. I can't remember exactly where. But they've been around.
For sure.
Yeah, and then that's a Sioux 38-2.
So I'm done. You got any pictures of that?
What's that?
You got any pictures over here?
Let's
Train
see
pulling
here.
Saturdays.
There she is.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going the wrong direction here. Hold on a minute. There she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was one of the last orders for the Sioux 38-2s, if I remember correctly. Like next to last, if I remember. Why do I do that? Luke Lemons, I don't want to hear a single word out of this. I should not know anything about the Sioux line. So anyway, yeah, it was a and then they had this handsome chocolate brown Sioux caboose along with them too.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good look right there. So yeah, I just wanted to say that they have been around there, Andy. So it's
Yeah.
We'll get you one. Don't worry.
It's bad drills. Bad drills on my behalf here. So, question from Jeff Schultz here. So, are the Jeep 20s the new GP38 horsepower wise?
Sure. Yeah. Ask CP.
I was really more trying to kick Mike under the table on that one, but apparently he's not picking up what we're putting down. So, sorry, Jeff.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I would say yes. I mean, look, they've replaced most of the 38-2s where they were.
Yeah.
I would say yes, but again, Sure.
All right. So that's so it wouldn't be a fun brew with the crew if we didn't give some stuff away. So tonight we're going to be giving away a Prairie Shadows freight car. So we're going to start collecting comments for that. We're going to get the StreamYard giveaway tool going up here, and then I'm going to put what you guys are all going to have to type in the chat. So we're going to do #shadows in the chat for you guys to have a chance to win, to get that entry, to win win a Prairie Shadows freight car of your choice in either HO or N scale.
Can I win?
So, no.
Yeah.
You ask every time, Mike.
You're already
Today's time is
winning,
up
Mike.
today.
Employees
days,
or
I'm gonna say
associated
yes.
employees of you could
One of these
try,
days we're
Mike,
gonna say
but
yes.
if
I'm gonna say yes.
you know what, yeah, you can enter.
No,
Mike.
no, I don't want
What?
to. No, never mind.
You can go ahead and enter, and then if there are any other questions here for the Prairie Shadows crew, let's make sure we get those into the chat, because we are encroaching on our almost 2 hours now with us, and some of us do have to go to bed, and some are tired, and many maybe had a few many martinis. So we understand that as well. So get those into the chat, and then we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the second part of our show here. But we are going to do a little giveaway tonight. So I guess questions. So we did talk about future projects in terms of the 5150, the Jeep 20, possibly new locomotives in the future if this one goes well. Are you guys going to be on the road and out at shows here for the remainder of the year before modeling season ends, or doing like Rocky Mountain or anything like that?
Unfortunately, Rocky Mountain's the same weekend as the show in Calgary, which is a pretty big one for me.
Okay.
It'll be Calgary first weekend of April, maybe the N-Scale convention, NMRA in Detroit, Novi. And then
So
Train Pass.
you guys are going to be in Novi.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got it. That's like 40 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So maybe I can parlay.
The first time we'll all be together.
Yeah.
Party time.
Really?
Yeah, it'll be our Czech liver lights might be on by the end of it, but
Czech liver light. I like that.
Oh man, there's
Novi. What is
there's
Novi? There's a couple of questions that people are asking.
Michigan.
What?
This national train show is in Novi, Michigan this year.
Oh,
Yeah, so Novi is a western suburb of Detroit.
Nice.
For those that don't know. And I happen to have, where I work, we have an office real close to there. So maybe I could just go do an office visit it's actually in New Hudson. And yeah, it seems prudent.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys like bourbon and all, but there is a really good bourbon bar in that area.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're speaking my language.
Ruh-roh.
Giddy up. So maybe I'll have to show up for the national and get with the Prairie Shadows crew and take them to that little bourbon bar that we went to.
Talking about.
Yeah. And then so it was really cool. But anyway, sorry for the digression here. Looks like we got let's check the giveaway tracker here. So we got 61 entries here on the giveaway tracker. We're gonna be launching this here real quick. I just wanted to ask Phil or Mike any questions here before we let the Prairie Shadows team off the hook here.
I think I've asked enough questions. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, it's always a laugh fest when you guys are on too.
Somebody said something about you guys not making anything in S scale. I'm not even gonna ask.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I'm not even going to ask. Over the years, I've learned not to ask anymore. It is what it is. But
We're trying hard enough to get back to the scale of champions and do some end scale sooner than later, I hope.
There you go.
The scale of champions.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So Anthony Bornaz,
that one, but
with those 5150s, the Wonder Bread ones, when are those going to be coming out?
hopefully late summer.
I was gonna, yeah, Q3, Q4
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, we don't want just because typically model railroad season is spring and fall and winter. We don't want anything landing right in the summer. So,
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah,
if you want to make that happen, I'm all on board. So
summer, early fall.
Yeah, fall would be.
We got
We've learned not to try to
66.
too much though.
Yeah.
Between erratic build schedules, customs delays, everything else, yeah, it gets a little ugly.
Yeah.
yeah.
there you go.
Filled up the
And
crystal
Randy
ball
Timmerman.
with, bourbon instead of the magic fluid.
Oh, there we go.
Ron
Bourbon
Stanek asked the
dispenser.
question.
Yeah, I like the way Ron thinks.
Should do a flask.
There you go.
20.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Oh, that would be.
Hey,
There
that's
you
kind of a
go.
good
Oh,
idea.
see?
Good idea.
There you go, Jeff. Just came up with one for us.
That's a
There you
good
go.
idea. That's a good idea.
All right. I think it's time to
A
throw
small
the.
fuel tank though.
Have to see. Randy is excelling at the scale of champions. Yes, he is, Justin. All right. Should we draw? Should we give this a whirl?
Yeah.
All right, let's hit it. Everyone, hold your breath and grab your shorts. See who's going to be the winner of the Prairie Shadows car.
Oh wait, it's Quinn.
Oh,
Jason
man.
Quinn.
We don't have anything chessy to give you.
Ah,
So if you don't know,
Congrats.
me and Jason are pretty good friends. That's
I was
funny.
really.
It was
Oh,
not
that's
rigged,
awesome.
folks. I promise you.
Oh no, Dave
Oh.
Winter says that every
Dave Winter,
single
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
I mean, come on.
Jason. If you wanna go ahead and send me your contact information, I'll put up the email address here where you can send that over. Otherwise, if you want to send it to Rob, that's fine too. So that way we can get you the goods here. I just can't believe.
Oh my
this.
gosh.
Well, I guess if there's any issues here, just make sure we send all complaints to Ray at aroundthelayout@gmail.com.
Yep.
Yep.com. And so second section podcast@gmail.com. Jason, that's where you can send me your contact information or just reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. We can go that way route too, and then we'll get that routed to Jeff, Rob, and Brandon, and we'll get you the car of your choice. So thank you for playing. Takes bow. There you go. There you go. Everyone's upset about it. Okay, so it's getting late, guys. If the folks from Prairie Shadows need to drop off, you're welcome to. Otherwise, if you want to hang around for the fun and frivolity that's going to ensue here after a couple more beers, you're more than welcome to hang out as well. We still got a good show tonight here. We got Phil Dimmer in the house. We're going to be talking about his layout, what's going on there. And then we're also going to be taking a look at those second section podcast group build weathering photos. A bunch of people post some stuff, so we'll go through and run through that. Plus, we got a special email entry for the group build as well. So we'll pass the microphone one last time to the folks on Prairie Shadows. We'll start with Rob. any comments, questions? How was your first experience on second section?
Oh, I mean, thank you for having us. Number one, thank you for having me on here. This is fun. This is good stuff.
Yeah. How about you, Brandon? Anything else that you wanted to add before we turn over to Phil?
I've got nothing other than just thanks for having us. This is great. Just a bunch of laughs. A look into what we're working on, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you guys are welcome anytime. That's for sure. And then Jeff, how about you? Any closing thoughts here before we change gears here real quick?
No, I guess like the guys, want to thank you for having us. As expected, I had a pretty good time. Not much better way to spend a Saturday night.
It's always a blast when you guys show up.
Yeah, I
Always.
really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like that. Brew with the crew.
I'm dehydrated, need to reload my glass, but otherwise I'll stick around for a bit.
Dehydrated.
Yeah. Hang out as much as you'd like to. I'm gonna have to go reload myself. I'm out of tall boys, so we'll kick it over to Phil here. Phil, you've been in the background quite a bit, hanging out with us this evening. We want to talk about your model railroad a little bit tonight, and maybe give us a little tour of. Are you going to give us a tour?
Yeah, we can do it. We can do a tour here. If you
All
guys
right.
are ready.
Sure. I got you up on the vertical right now, so you can either do that or turn sideways there. Yeah, that would probably be good.
That's better. Okay. I'll start out with a site map here of what we're modeling. The red there is Breckenridge. That's like where the main yard and stuff is. And then let me walk you over to a couple track plans here. This isn't perfect, but it's pretty close to the upper level. We got a main yard, and then there's the helix coming out of the east side, which is the right-hand side of this picture. And then when you go to the left, which is westbound, you'll go past that bridge there and lop it in, and then it branches out into three different turns. And then if you go down the helix, then you end up there's the green is Minot Yard, and then the orange is Wilmer Yard. And then when you're on your way to Wilmer, going east out of Breckenridge, how you'd get to like Hankinson, North Dakota, and there's an ethanol plant there. There's a Y that goes on the Sioux line. That would be on Highway 55. It would head all the way to Northtown, going to the cities. So that track goes from Northtown Yard all the way, I believe, all the way over to Minot, North Dakota, and then I'm assuming it must go. I'm assuming it must go up towards Canada once it gets past Minot. So
yeah. So why don't you back up just a smidgen here for those who joined late and didn't get your intro? Do you just want to reset real quick and just talk about what it is that you're modeling in terms of railroads, and then maybe the era, and then your layout size and all that good stuff.
What we're modeling is so the Red River Valley and Western is a short line railroad in North Dakota. It's about, I think they got about 600 miles of track, and then they're a sister railroad to the TC&W in the cities in Minneapolis. Their main, the owners or whatever, I think they're both owners own both railroads, I think, at the very, very top. And then obviously I put ED&W on here because that's my railroad. That's my fictitious railroad. And then BNSF has trackage rights through Breckenridge, because the Red River Valley and Western basically took over trackage rights back in 1987. And they just re-upped here, I think 5 years ago, because they had a 30-year lease or whatever, so they just re-upped it. So
then this is a prototypical.
2027 will be 40 years for these guys already.
Wow.
They started out with 10 CF7s, nine angled cabs, and then they had one round cab, and they only have, I believe they have one CF7 left. Otherwise, they've switched over to some repowered GP38s and some GP15 Cs and some GP20 Cs and some GP30 Cs. They've done a lot of stuff with CAT. And as of about 2 years ago, they actually purchased 4 SD70 Max from the BNSF, and they're using those for moving. They got like a shuttle train that they move soybeans and stuff with. So,
Holy smokes!
I've heard from a number of my son actually works he's on the surfacing crew for him. So he's been working for him for the last 3 years now. So he's got some inside information as far as, you know, how everybody they should have just bought some SD40-2s because these old 70 Max, there's not many places to find parts for them and stuff, and there's some of the guys are upset that they bought them, but they're kind of neat to see after seeing small 4 axles and stuff. It's kind of neat to see the big power sitting on there too. But so this is Breckenridge Yard. It's laid out fairly close to the way the main actual yard is. But obviously I couldn't, you know, you got to compress stuff, so it didn't 100% all fit. And obviously it'd be nicer to have my classification tracks a little longer, but you know, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. Our room size up here is 24 long by 17 wide, and we've got basically 2 decks. This is some car shop stuff that I was working on here. This is the last kind of major thing I just got done working on, is doing the car shop, and then there's a rear car shop here. And then the day before my surgery for the colon cancer thing, I was up here ballasting to try and calm myself down, you know. So I did some ballasting up here the night before surgery, because why not, you know?
Yeah.
So this would be Breck Yard, and then directly below that is where the ethanol plant's going to be. That's in Hankinson. That'll be on the CP. Kind of a mess, but that's where the ethanol plant is going to be. And then down here, this would be heading back to the west. There's a small little town with an elevator that's going to be on the other side of highway overpass and stuff on your way down there. So the lower level basically is only this little shelf area, because then it disappears into the back part where it goes back up. So coming west out of Breck, then you would be going like on here. We'd be going around this direction. So you'd go across the river, the Red River of the North, and then I'm working on eventually building an overpass here. That's on the outside of town there. So to try and get the overpass, if you look on there, they're humped. They're like a humped overpass. So I made a fixture to take I-beams and then put them in there and kind of pre-stress them, and then I had to cut the bottoms and force them into their direction and stuff. And so this wood will obviously be replaced by the styrene, and then I did some 3D printed cement towers or whatever that are going to be part of that. So you'd be
like the supports underneath.
The supports underneath, yep. Because of the way, and it actually worked pretty nice on the 3D printer, because as you're printing it, it kind of looks like it's stacked concrete where you do a slip form concrete. So that's heading basically where it branches off, where the UP hopper cars are. Those are heading towards would be north towards Fargo, and then where the implement dealership is, that's heading on the middle branch line towards Castleton, and then the close line here is what heads around and towards Gwinner, North Dakota, which is where the Dimco plant is. This is a big This is a big elevator here that's just west of our place on the Oaks line, which is what they call the Gwinner line. That's made with like, that's your standard Walters bend, but it's just taller. And then this is a Walters bend that's using the plates that you use, like 6 of them for a Walters bend, but I put 8 in there. And then the top, there's 48 trapezoids that are glued all the way around, and then 48 little tiny pieces of styrene on there, and then obviously and this was before I had a 3D printer, so all this is stick built styrene.
No shit.
Yeah, it's I was a little bit crazy when I did all that. I'm guessing I probably got 500 hours of work into this, along with the legs and everything. It's all custom styrene or whatever, strip built.
That's fantastic.
And once I got a 3D printer, I'm like, wow, this is so much easier to 3D print stuff. But then so continuing on, it goes past the little farm. There's some Jeep 10s from the TCNW, and then it comes around into which was just the town of Gwynn around here. But this is where we've got, these are those little loaders I talked about building, where we used Northcott Mini parts and kit bashed them and made them into these. And then my line of work, I'm in kind of the same thing Andy does. I'm in manufacturing, so we do a lot of returnable racking, and we do a lot of assembly line equipment. So I 3D printed a lot of industries will move product around with stackable racking and stuff. So these are all
that's cool.
3D printed racks and stuff. So that's, the 3D printer is its own hobby in itself. You know, I mean, you have to, it's a learning curve in itself. So can we take just a quick break here to touch on that a little bit? When did you get your 3D printer? When did I get it?
Yeah, when?
We've had it probably 3 years now. I believe it's 3 years now. It's a Dreamer. I believe it's a Dreamer XT or something like that. It was like a $350 or a $400 one that we got off of eBay, brand new. You know, I basically found something that I thought my son could figure out, and purchased it. And I said, "Here, see if you can get this going." And within 2 hours, he had stuff downloaded, and he was already printing the little sailboat thing that's your test. Everybody prints the boat out for their test,
right?
And I'm looking at him. I'm like, this is perfect. I mean, he 2 hours, he had stuff going to town on it. So,
how long did it take you to basically design those racks and get them to a point where they print properly?
That, you know, that's the learning curve. You know, it drawing wise, probably, you know, probably drawing wise, maybe half hour to an hour of drawing, and then, you know, basically playing with the different print settings, you know. So I'm guessing by about the 6 hour mark, we probably had some of these racks. These were the first things we kind of printed that were of any type of detail or whatever. We also did some of these little returnable, what do you call them? The ICBFs or whatever, the returnable racking.
The returnable bin things.
Yeah, that the egg industry uses. And we did some pallet racks and stuff like that. I didn't do the pallets, but the egg industry bulk pallet and the what do you call it? The pallet racks or whatever. We did those too.
Yeah.
So I mean, and like these tanks and stuff. It's your mind is your limit on the whole 3D printer thing. You know, of what you can do.
I do quite a bit of 3D printing. And that's why.
Stuff, right?
Yeah, I kind of got no choice. So I mean, it's just one of those things where you hit the nail on the head. That's a whole hobby unto itself.
Yes.
I've actually got a locomotive shell that I'm working on. Myself and a friend of mine are working on, and I just got the STL files, and now I got to make sure I get them scaled, and that's the hard part right there, is making sure that
it's the right size.
It scales, because you draw those things 1-to-1. Is that what you do when you go and do them?
What I usually do is I'll draw them, like, if I'll measure like how tall, whatever I want it, and I'll try and draw it to, like, it's a half an inch tall. I'll try and draw it at a half an inch tall, and for the most part, my printer it's probably within, I'd say 10 thou when you print. So,
Right.
It doesn't really shrink or nothing. Here's the elevator here, the slip form. We printed all those in like little two heights. So like this is a part that's printed, and then that's a part that's printed, and that's a part that's printed.
Oh, wow.
And just for shits and giggles, I wanted to see what kind of, what, when you print and you have to put the little stand things where it keeps it from. I'm like, well, let's see if we can. I mean, look at the time savings in printing something like this, than having to like hand. You'd go nuts trying to hand do it,
Right.
I did some elevator head and tail sections, and then we just put the plastic tube in between them. So yeah, it's a, like you say, it's a whole hobby in itself. Been working on printing some grain truck boxes.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Coming towards Fargo, then I've got kind of a little industrial park on the north end of Wahpeton, which is where we've got like a beet plant and a sugar plant, or a beet plant and a corn plant. And there used to be a 3M out here, which is going to be here. And then there's also in Wahpeton, there's a Bobcat hydraulics plant that builds all the hydraulic cylinders for the Bobcat skid steer loaders. So on my layout, this is going to be Dimco, and then I'm going to be able to run like 40-foot box cars from here back to the plant, and drive. Normally they'd probably this close, they'd probably do it with a truck, but on here I'm going to do it with the 40-foot box cars and stuff. So, and then underneath, I've got there's the staging yards and stuff are underneath, so they kind of, they wrap around underneath here, and not much. I mean, there's enough to run. There's enough to run probably two trains parked in each direction, and then it does also go out into the hallway here where it comes around. And we did, my son convinced me to put a fourth or third level on where the CP is going to actually be able to do laps all the way around too. So when we come down and do the you'll be able to have CP trains running back and forth, kind of getting in your way when the RVW or the ED&W comes down and switches out the plant down here. So yeah, it's like you say, you can pick a direction and try to work on something, and then you get that squirrelness where you're like, okay, I'm going to go do this now, and I'm going to go do this. And for whatever reason, I decided this fall into winter, I'm like, I better knock out this area here. So it's amazing how much time a person can spend on just the plastic or the parking lots and the detail and stuff in there. So yeah,
this is incredible, Phil.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
My sister keeps telling me that I should. My sister keeps telling me I should do a YouTube channel, and I think eventually, probably we'll get there. But that's a lot of work in itself too. To do all the.
So
What's that?
So we got some questions pouring in if you'd be willing to field a couple. So David went there. So how long have you been working on this?
I'm coming up on. I want to say we started doing the row up here in 2018. So what is that? 7 years, somewhere's in there. On this layout. I mean, I've been model railroading since I was 8, but
sure.
Yeah, I want to say about 7 good years up here of cranking out stuff.
Well,
that's really, really that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've managed to accomplish quite a bit in 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, your layout is very. I mean, it's. I don't want to say this.
What's that?
I just like it's developed, like it's
yes,
and like
yes.
you have operating sessions on it regularly, don't you? I shouldn't say regularly, but
we've had probably I think I got four rough ones under my belt now, and I've got car cards and stuff that I'm trying to get going. They've car cards with pictures and stuff on them, and working on the way bills and stuff. I haven't got those to the point where we can use them in an operating session yet. So what we've been doing is I just tell the guys, make a train up to go to Gwinner, and my son kind of helps out with the making sure they get the right cars on there and stuff. And they just pretty much, bring them over there, switch the cars that are there out. And I'm just back in the corner, just watching, just seeing how people are doing stuff and, where people are standing, and noticing that, the very first one I noticed, we had left some power over in Dimco. I just had it parked there, and the guys figured out that we're just going to send the train over to you, and then you guys grab the train with your power, and we'll go back light power. And then they did the switch out with the power at Gwinner, and the whole thing was nice because then you didn't have people crossing into each other's path and stuff. So the next couple of times we tried that on another couple of turns, and it worked pretty good. So basically, the first operating sessions is just letting people just put it through its paces, and I'm trying to write down where the weak points are and stuff. So
yeah. So
That's cool.
and then you said you had a Facebook page as well, right?
Yep, it's all on Facebook on the Eastern. It's the Eastern Dakota and Wilkin on Facebook.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this up, because you post on here, like, you have almost 3,000 followers
I think so,
on
yeah,
this
we're
page.
pretty close to that. Yeah.
I mean, it's and I'll just bring it up here, just
remember when I
for
started that,
funsies.
Yeah. I think I started
but
that
yeah,
pretty,
it's
pretty close to when I started heavy working on stuff. There you go.
yeah. So this is your page here.
Yep.
And I'll put a copy of it in the chat here,
Yep.
real quick. But you're posting on here very frequently, different updates. Here's
got to keep the fans happy.
it's yes,
that's what it is. You got to keep the fans happy. So that's my son right there, and then there's some of the guys in the operating session.
Yep. So how many people can you get in there?
We had that last one. We had I think we had about 7 guys up there, so it was getting a little crowded, but not horrible anymore. Oh, I was kind of standing back off to the side, so and everybody kind of knows what they're doing, 2-man crews or whatever. And my hope is to someday, I've got a control panel that's out in the hallway there that I'm going to hope to be able to control the staging yards from out there. So I'm hoping I can drive traffic from out in another room, and then keep one guy out of the main layout, and I can just be the guy behind the curtain back there driving traffic. So I don't have all the switch machines and stuff hooked up yet, because I love weathering, I love modeling, I love ballasting, and wiring isn't on the very, very top of the liked board, but it all has to be done. So I got all the switch machines pre-wired. We just haven't done the whole crawl under the layout and put them in yet.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. So a couple other questions coming in. Joe Bohannon's asking, do you have models that are of the cat-powered locomotives? If so, are they sound? I've been trying to find their correct sound files myself.
I do not have any of the sound. I've got a couple of the cat Jeep 15s, I think is what they are, the Jeep 15Cs. I've got a couple of those 4100 series locomotives. I've got a couple of those started. And of course, they're Proto 2000, so I got to fix the broken axle things on them. But I've got those probably 75% done. And then
cool.
I'm also 2 of those GP10s that have TCNW on them. 2 of those are going to be turned into the Cat 20s. So yeah, I'm sure somebody probably has a sound file out there, but I don't. Yeah, they have a unique sound to them.
Ron Stanik's question: can we still see Phil's home road scheme?
I am working on. I don't have anything on file right now, but I am working on some different schemes and stuff for that. I'm is it Circus City that can do custom
Yes.
details and stuff?
Yep.
I'm contemplating whether to do that or to try and get some paper and do some printing on my own. So yeah, that's still in the design stage, but I do have some. I got a couple. Ordered a couple. The Jeep 15 Ts, the CSX locomotives. I'm gonna heavily weather those out and then patch them out to my railroad along with some other units and stuff, just because I can, So.
Yeah. Right. Well, very cool. Let's see here. I think that's it for the question. So what's up? So I may have missed it, but what's up upcoming for you and the Eastern Dakota and Wilkin? What's the next big project?
The next big project is I'm guessing I'm gonna probably start working on the switch machines and trying to get that stuff wired and just get that knocked out of the way. And I'm close. It's just the executing of it now. So got all the supplies, got all the wires, just need to do it. Because that'll make the next operating session that much better, where I can control some stuff and stay out of their way, And then probably next to that would be finishing up car cards and waybills and stuff.
Yeah, it's an ongoing battle that you're always going to have to fight. So
and most of our routing groups that we operate with, they do the car cards and waybills. So I got one guy that does switch list with JMRI, but otherwise it's mostly car cards and waybills. So that's what everybody's kind of used to. So, and I guess for me, it'll be the most simplest for my railroad anyway, as far as forcing traffic where I want it. So
yeah, very cool. Well, Phil, thanks for jumping on tonight. Yes. And I know you were kind of after the Prairie Shadows fellas there, but and hanging with us, and for sharing a little update. And make sure that you guys, it looks like a lot of people have already, shoot over to Phil's Facebook page. Here's another question for you before we wrap up. Bill Kenkel, do you have any help building the layout?
Yeah, I've got some buddies that come down from Fargo, and there's a couple buddies in town here too that come out. We haven't had any big work sessions yet, but I think when we get into this, the switch machines thing, I'll probably need a couple more hands. So we'll definitely take them.
There you go. Call to action for the section crew. If anyone's out in Phil's area and likes to wire up switch machines, have at it. All right. So thanks again, Phil, for hanging out with us tonight. And if you feel free to stick around as we go through the second section podcast group build here, because I want to transition to that here before we get into hour 3. You're all thinking hour 3. Oh God, what the hell did I do here? But we haven't
done a 3-hour thing for a while, have we?
Are you kidding me? Feels like every. No.
Are we back to
probably right next to me, looking at the CP? So okay, so there was. We're running the second section podcast group build right now. Where the first one that we're running here, and it's just weathering a rail car of any sorts. And we did get a question of, hey, can I still participate if I'm not really a Facebook user? And the answer is absolutely. You certainly can participate with us here. You can send any pictures and illustrations over to second section podcast at gmail.com. And tonight we're going to be sharing an email group here for, I think it's let me see the name. I'm going to get the name 100% wrong, but it's he's got some really cool pictures of this hopper that he's doing. It's like a split screen hopper between a Union Pacific and a Rock Island. And let's see here. I'll pull it up on the picture so you guys can see what's going on as I talk through this. All right, get this bigger and share. Da, 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 da. And I'll pull up the rest of the commentary here in a second. Okay, so he's let's see, starting out with a basic Proto 2000. I believe it's a 4427 covered hopper.
The high hip.
Is it a high hip or low hip?
That's a high hip.
We were taught this. Yeah,
That's
it's
a high
Brad
hip.
High hip. Brad Haim. I want to say the answer to the naming question is, yeah, Brad Haim. I can't really pronounce it, but yeah, so it's a 4427. And it's in the late 60s, the UP financed a lot of the Rock Island's new equipment and purchases, including several orders of these 4427s as a planned merger with the Rock Island. But it was ultimately turned down by the ICC. Yeah, that whole pesky Rock Island debacle. And when the Rock Island finally closed its doors in 1980, the equipment was returned to the UP, who integrated it into their own fleet. On this particular car, the early UP repaint failed, and rather spectacularly by the 1990s, and was starting to show the underlying 1970s bankruptcy blue scheme. So let's see what he's done with this. This is gonna
be awesome.
Yes, it is. So this is his kit that he started with. It's an old Proto 2000 high side covered hopper. There you go, Mike. High hip, right? And he's using craft paints. Okay.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Wait till you see the car. So he starts there, and now look where we're at.
Oh man.
Oh,
Isn't that
Shut
something
up.
else?
Wow.
I'm not joking.
Huh.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
that's intense.
Oh.
Holy man.
Yes. There he is. So he's sent 3 sets of emails to us here at Second Section Podcast, and I just wanted to essentially share this with the section crew because, first of all, it's spectacular modeling, and the materials that he did it with are really, basic craft paints, right, and some decals, and away you go. And now he's starting to get into the rusting and the streaking and some of the other stuff. So this is, and it's an old Proto 2000 car, and it's holding up.
Those are pretty nice cars back in the day. Those were really nice cars.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, they were 90s and late 2000s or early 2000s. They were pretty high quality. That's for sure. I do want to just show you the crew here before we get totally into the weeds on it. He just for prosperity purposes, the picture, you see how they want me to log in, of course. The picture itself, let me see if I got a Railroad Pictures Archives one. Oh, I'm down. But I'll have to pull it up and post it on the Facebook page because it is just a Jim Dandy prototype photo that he's using, and it's exactly what the model is representing. So hats off to you there, Brad. Great work. We're gonna scoot over to our Facebook group. So Second Section Podcast on Facebook. I did put a post out there today. Hey, show us what you've been working on. We're gonna get a few posts. Not a whole lot, but there are some people doing some stuff. So I posted this here. This is a Home Shops deal that we have out there today. This is the entry that I have. It's a Washington and Northern Is a Intermountain car. It's the PS 5277, and I just did a fade and some light weathering, nothing too substantial. I did add the Sargent coupler to it. That was exciting. Went through and did all that.
That turned out really
and just
nice.
did a little- It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. But now she's ready for service, so pretty excited about the overall look of it. Let's see. So we did have a few entries in this one. I just wanted to talk. So Joe Bohannon, who's been in the chat quite a bit tonight, he's been working on, I believe he's kit bashing this all-door boxcar for the Chinook lines. And so the last time we had him or showed this, it was just styrene. And now he's got it to the point where it looks like it's time for weathering. So good job,
Yes.
Joe. Got one of his
There's-
cars here. What?
There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys starting to really get into doing some really good quality scratch building of freight car stuff. I've seen quite a bit of it on several different Facebook groups and some friends that I know. Also,
here's
have been doing some great work.
This is Paul Bukowski,
Mhm.
fellow S scaler.
Yep,
Look at this.
I think I might have that car too. I actually might.
It's a beauty.
Yeah, Paul does some incredible work.
So and then Rob Sarna here with the poor old Chicago Northwestern covered hopper.
Never looked so good.
He's doing a good job making it with Nokel. I'm telling you, Mike, one of these days it's going to come to blows. Milwaukee Road versus Chicago Northwestern.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, whatever, man. Nathan Helms, my son's car that he is working on, I asked him if he wanted prototype pictures to work from, and he said no. I call it the tortoise shell car. It's pretty good for no photos, just kind of flying blind there. Okay. Oh, here we go. Tony Dixon. I think he's the majority shareholder at Evergreen Plastics. So I have a long ways to go on my weathering project. I have to finish building this first. Another Paducah Rebuild GP10 in 1/64th scale, S scale. For the ICCC 8409 from the end of the Chicago Central. Once it's done, I'll be building a couple of S-scaled covered hoppers for it. Tony's a tremendous modeler and longtime participant on the show here. Eager to see how this turns out.
That does look really good.
Yeah. Here's Nathan Helm's own submission here. Haven't really got much done on my former Irigon. My current issue is that my dull coat started spraying white. It'd be awesome if I was going to model winter. But I'm going to have to cover it with paint. I've had this happen to me before.
Does it happen when it gets old? Is that what happens? It just gets too...
I usually toss it if it starts doing that. If it starts spraying white, you just toss it.
Yeah. Right into the trash bin with that. The model looks good though. But yeah, the dull coat's got to go. John Garvin working on the scrap loads first, trimming and fitting, and then fill in some of the bare spots. Then over to the paint booth for a base coat, then apply the layers of rusty grime, And when that's done, I'll have a trio of Proto 2000 Gons to dirt and rust up. I'm having lots of fun. First of all, shout out again to the Proto 2000 cars. You can find those real cheap at train shows. It's a good detailed car to practice on. These loads.
And if you wanted to strip them, the paint, it's not too hard to strip that paint off of them, a factory paint job of those. So you can make them in almost anything you want.
Damn, looks good, John. Montana Northern Railroad. Busy day switching out the Livingston Furniture Company on the Montana Northern Railroad. 3 different Home Shops LLC boxcars. Hashtag not sponsored. Were spotted at the factory today. Yeah, that Washington Northern one looks pretty familiar there. Nice job. A Texas Great Northern one turned out, or Chris's home road there. That one turned out. The Great North is the Northeastern. Yeah, it turned out really good. The TG&N. Nice. Probably getting, and that looks like that's going to take us through all of the posts on the Facebook call. But there's a special one here. David Winther doing a V&O boxcar. I'll read the caption here real quick once. Did a little rail fanning today. Was able to catch his V&O boxcar at the Carlsport Depot. Must have come across the lake on the car ferry. I figured because we don't see cars like this over here often, I did splurge a bit and use color film for my camera.
Ooh, fancy.
Yes, very fancy.
Does such good work.
Notice the Chicago and Northwestern, Mike.
I'm sorry, what?
Notice the Chicago and Northwestern.
Well, that was back when they were relevant, I guess. I don't know. It's
David's a good modeler, very good modeler,
very
nice
good modeler.
Yeah, very good.
That actually is
Nice
kind of a
job,
neat
Dave.
looking caboose. I like the caboose.
And then here's some of the progress shots of him working on the car itself. So he's another one here. This is one from Dennis Colucci on a V&O boxcar. I think we said this was N scale.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Based on the size and the cutting mat. So yeah, he's getting after it here. So very cool. So that's what we got tonight for our group build. We also have a chat in our Facebook group, which is just dedicated to this. It's getting a flurry of activity just for the second section podcast group build. A lot of people in there sharing a bunch of ideas, tips, tricks, techniques, and just having an overall good time with it. So, all right. So there we go. Hashtag, what is he talking about here, David? We showed the car. So anyways, so Mike, what do you think of this one tonight?
Well, the Prairie Shadows guys, they could take it on the road as a comedy team. They're funnier. They're like the best. Those guys, they're beauties. I tell you what, they're they are. You guys are awesome, man. I love having you guys on. Every single time you come on, it's a hoot.
Just bring out the best in us.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
I tell you what, though, Jeff, I'm going to tell you something right now. You need to do a little decorating behind you there.
Yeah, I know.
It's we're gonna have to. No, not you, Rob.
Well, no,
That
but
doesn't
he's got to get a background. We've always done it.
I looked at it, I was like, why did I do a background?
I know.
Well, okay, so you've had Seinfeld, and then what was the other one?
Married with Children.
Oh, Married with Children. You could do the Friends Friends living room. Yeah, do the guys' apartment. Yeah, do the guys' apartment, not the girls.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, do the guy's apartment with the foosball table and the whole 9 yards, and the two
duck.
recliners,
Yeah.
and the duck. Yeah, the duck.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, no, I tell you what, it's always a lot of fun to have you guys on the show. You guys put out an amazing product. I can't wait to see how things progress. I'm actually super psyched about that GP20. That thing's going to be so cool. And Phil, your layout is awesome. You know, it's really in the 8 years we've been working on it, it's really come a long ways. You got a really good concept there. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
You might want to think maybe the what is it, the ED and W, something like
Yep,
right?
yep.
You know, that would look good in maroon and gold. I tell you.
That's true. That's true.
I'm telling you, it has been done before. It's been done before, but it's maroon and gold. You already have the blueprint for everything. You just need the letters. That's it.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
saying. But thank you, Phil, for hopping on and showing us your layout and everything else like that.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So, yep, that's all I got, man. That's it.
Yeah. Do you ever watch the what was it, the old episodes of Home Improvement? Right?
Yeah.
Tim the Toolman Taylor, right? And like when him and Al would have the crew from K&B Construction on,
Yeah.
you know, and they always come in and Prairie Shadows is my K&B Construction.
Yeah.
You know, like
oh, there you go, Jeff. Do the set of Tool Time behind
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I think like that's how I always think of you guys. When you guys first came on the show, it was such a good time, and then you guys are so personable and willing to share the process and all this, and it's just fantastic and really gives the modelers some really good insight in like what goes into the manufacturing process. Because it's easy for us to sit behind our keyboards and go, oh, they missed that rivet and all this, that, and the other. But, there's a lot of design considerations that go into it. And you guys share that with us, and that's great. And you guys are funny, too, and that helps a lot. Picks up a lot of slack for Mike and I.
Yeah. We're not funny.
Right. So we'll kick it over to Rob and Jeff here. Any closing thoughts before we tie down for the night?
No, like I said, thank you again for having us on there. Phil, your layout is amazing. I'm actually really curious about the 3D printing stuff because you're right. It's going to save just hours of kit bashing. Now, I love kit bashing stuff, but time is money.
It's a time saver.
Yeah, for sure.
The beautiful thing about it is like those racks. Phil, I don't know how big your print plate is, but I've got a 6K sitting here. Any cubic photon 6K, and I could probably get like S-scale locomotives. I can put 3 shells on my plate.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I can get I could in HO scale, that's quite a few parts can be printed all at the same time, which, like you say, Rob, huge time saver.
Yeah.
And if you get I always look at it like this: you're going to have 10 to 20% failures.
Yeah.
So you're going to have that on any print. So that means that you've got 80% of your print is usable.
Mm-hmm.
And out of those 10 to 20%, some of those are still usable if you use some creativity to show them as being busted up or something like that. I mean, you can really use the failures. I always call them good fails. That's what I call them. But 3D printing is definitely saving a lot of time.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's the new X-Acto knife.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what's right here. My printer's right inside this. This is actually that silent floor stuff that you can find, that cushioning for concrete floors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made an enclosure for it. So using those.
It's crazy. Anything from your camp, Jeff?
Nothing too well. It was great to meet Phil and see what everyone else is working on too. Enjoyed seeing some familiar names in the chat too. It's really rounded out the night nicely.
Yeah, and then we'll save last words here for Phil.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's good to be on and talk with some railroad guys and get my mind off of my my health problems right now. But hopefully those are getting underway. So
yeah, those are in the rearview
Yeah, we
mirror.
wish you the best with that. That's
hopefully they're in the rearview mirror. And I got a lot of life to live. We have 4 boys that are 22 all the way down to 12. Like you say, chasing them in sports and getting the vehicles fixed up and hopefully getting them moved on to houses and garages and all that stuff. So got a lot to live for. So I'm positive that I'm going to be able to come through this and keep on railroading, I guess.
So it's what you got to do one day at a time, and
some incentive to push through, you know.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Well, it was a blast having you on, Phil. And again, thank you for taking the time to walk us through the layout. And again, I'll make a plug here for Phil in his Facebook group or Facebook page, Eastern Dakota and Wilkin. And then make sure that you guys are checking that out. Good content there. So just a programming note for all the folks in the section crew. We did have a podcast scheduled for March 6th. That's going to have to be rescheduled. Our guests are having some issues with their daytime jobs getting in the way of model railroading funds. So they'll be on a trip. So we're going to have Matt Fricks and Isaac Fabris on at another time to be determined. So the next time that you'll see us is, oh my goodness gracious me, Mike, when are we on next?
Oh, I got that. Don't
you
tell
do.
me.
You have.
No, I have it. Hold on.
I'm going to tell you.
Uno momento, por favor.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Man, that's the 20th.
We're back on the 20th.
Yeah.
With Steve from trainwaybills.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, unless something comes up between here and there.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys posted. If you want to follow the news on Second Section, check us out on our Facebook group at the Second Section Podcast, or we do have our schedule posted over at secondsectionpodcast.com. So thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Cheers. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.
See y'all.
Bye.